In this video, we are going to discuss important aspects about ecological study, or it's also called correlational aggregate study designs. And we start with defining what is meant by ecological study or correlational study. As defined by Porta, it is a study in which the units of analysis are populations or groups of people, or rather than individual level. The sense that we deal with the information that are generated or obtained from groups, maybe at different levels of the health system, from hospitals, from health facilities, from diagnostic centers, etc. An ecological or aggregate study is conducted to compare groups rather than individual cases. And this is compared to the other designs, for example, case control study or cohort study. We usually compare individual cases rather than a group of individuals. And often we make use of the routinely collected data within the health facility, whether it's at the federal level or at the state level or the locality level, from hospitals, from diagnostic centers, from any of these health facilities. We usually we have, especially if we have effectively functioning health system, information system, that we can obtain the information at different levels, and then we can hold processing, reporting of these data. And the ecological study designs make use of the data such as the national surveys, state surveys, or surveys that may be held at lower levels at the locality level, or for example, vital statistics, censuses. We can make use of all these secondary data so that we can find some sort of correlations between a certain exposure and outcome. And the main advantages of ecological studies include that it is time saving, as usually the routinely collected data, whether from the health information system or from any other, for different levels of the health system, they are already collected, already processed, already reported. For example, the annual statistical reports from the Federal Ministry of Health, or from the State Ministry of Health, or from hospital, you will find the annual statistical report, including all these events. So it is time saving compared to our types of designs, for example, cohort study or any other longitudinal designs. They need time to be conducted. And the study is less costly, as we already we can make use of the already routinely collected data, which is processed, reported, and analyzed, and finally we will come upon it to get some sort of correlations between groups that were reported from the such secondary data. We can use such information for hypothesis generation or formulation, and it is conducted at the group level rather than individual level. And this is reflects that it is easy to conduct correlational study or ecological study. Also, these study design facilitate comparing between communities and groups that were inaccessible, whether inaccessible socially or economically or geographically. We cannot access them, so we can make some sort of comparison at the group level. We cannot access them at the individual level, so we make use of such comparison at the group levels. Here we have some examples of the correlation study or the ecological studies where has been taken as examples or models. For example, studies of oral contraceptive cells and cardiovascular diseases in women. And this is held by Valérie Peral and incidence of endometrial carcinoma, and prescription data for replacement oestrogens, and motor vehicular fatalities and occupant restraint legislation or enforcement. These are examples of the correlational study or the ecological studies. The disadvantages of such ecological studies is that they may be suffering from ecological fallacy. And the ecological fallacy is the situation where we identify correlations at the population level, at the group level. When you compare groups, you find correlations between certain outcome and a disease, but this may not be detected, cannot be verified or confirmed when we compare at individual level, when we conduct the same study using other designs, for example, case control study or cohort study. And this is called ecological fallacy. Another thing cannot be used to study complex correlations at the population level, for example, between exposure and outcomes. In some situations, there are multiple outcomes from single exposure. So this is make it difficult. This makes it difficult for us to conduct such correlation studies. The routinely collected data, which we depend on for the ecological studies, may be suffering from chronic problems such as inaccuracies and incompleteness and deficiencies that may affect adversely the quality of the study in all. This is another example in that the correlation study between TB and AIDS, and reported, as we can see, incidence rate of TB and compared with the incidence rate of AIDS, for example, per 100,000 persons per year in 13 states. And here we have also another example where we compare, for example, air pollution and case fatality of severe acute respiratory syndrome in the People's Republic of China, an ecological study that is conducted by a group of researchers and published in Environmental Health Global Access Science Source. And they compare the air pollution and the fatality due to severe acute respiratory syndrome resulting from that infection. So this is a typical example of an ecological study. Thank you very much.